All right, so I have John Davis in my house in Tampa. You're on a media break. And so what I want to do is everybody that's looking on Facebook and following you, and hopefully by now they know the things that you're, the actions, the messages that you're trying to get out, that Wildlands Network is trying to get out. So what I want to do now is just kind of, what my friends tell me, what I know people that come that are following you, kind of the nuts and bolts and just what's going on with this. Because we were at Skipper's last night at the party, and there was no scoop because I was so busy scooping, we were just so busy that we didn't get any of that. So what I first want to ask you is, what happens, like, you're no Bear Grylls,
No.
And a lot of people ask me, so what's going on? I mean, we've got these media breaks, and so they want to know, well, who's following them? How does it actually work? And why are you here in Tampa on a media break?
I'm here in Tampa in part because we have a strong network of Wildlands supporters in this area. So we have the logistical support I need to actually arrange media interviews and so forth. People are doing that for me. And we very much want this trek to be a lot more than just a physical journey. We want it to be a communications initiative, an outreach effort, so that we can inform and inspire people to take actions on behalf of wild places and wildlife.
Right, so good. So when you're out there and you're in the field, you're connecting by blogging, and this is what I want to ask you about, because your blogs are amazing. And you're welcome. You're a writer. I mean, I'm obviously a talker, but I'm amazed when I read them. So what kind of process do you go through, and are you sitting down like in a tent writing them, or?
Yeah, usually. Typically, a good day for me is all day in the field. I get up very early, I do background reading, I study maps, and then I head out once the dew has dried a bit, and I'm on foot or I'm on bike or I'm in a canoe or a kayak, and I spend all day in the field, but taking notes and photographs. It's not all fast movement by any means. In fact, often it's pretty slow. Sometimes just poking along, taking photographs, looking at tracks. But ideally, pretty much all day in the field, get back to the tent by dusk if possible, and then spend the evening, again, doing some background reading, but also a lot of writing. That's when I do my writing, is in the evening typically.
And is that kind of, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I mean, is it a way for you to kind of, not a catharsis, I don't know what I'm looking for, but it's like a way for you to kind of like look back and really process what's going on? What's writing for you?
Oh, it definitely is. I've always tended to keep a journal when I'm out in wild places, but this is the first time I've attempted to write a journal in such a way that it would engage other people. So to some extent it's a new experience for me. I've done a lot of writing, but again, on a daily basis I've not written for that many people before. But it definitely is a way for me to collect my thoughts, record what I saw, even record some feelings, and I'm learning how to express my feelings more in my writing as I go, and try to convey the excitement. These are beautiful places I'm traveling to, amazing animals and plants I'm seeing. I'm trying to convey some of that. It's really fun being out there, and I hope the writing reflects that.
Oh yeah, no, I think it totally does. And so what's been the thing so far, like, that you've seen, whether it's an animal, evidence of an animal, or an experience, or even like something that you've been really disappointed about, what's the thing that you're amazed at?
Well, several things, many things stand out, but if I were to point to a few, the dolphin groups we saw in the Everglades were just wonderful. And especially one time we think we were seeing dolphins mating. We didn't see the actual act, but they were certainly cavorting in the water, and they were not fish jumping, which you would ordinarily, if they were feeding, we probably would have seen fish jumping, fish fleet.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And we did not. So we were suspected that they were mating. And then another time we saw dolphin parents with their young, and the little dolphins are just adorable. Wonderful to see that. And the manatee sightings have been very, very fun. The crocodile sightings. The small-tooth sawfish was especially thrilling. I'd never seen such a strange-looking fish as this. That was a beautiful thing like that, with a nose looking like a chainsaw about that long. They used to reach 20 feet in length, but they've been overfished, unfortunately, so their numbers are way down. And another big surprise, other end of what I've traveled through so far, is the Kissimmee Prairie. To be in the Kissimmee Prairie, you feel like you're in the middle of a vast western grassland, but of course, here I am in Central Florida, in this nearly 55,000 acre preserved grassland. There are pockets of trees here and there, but mostly it really is a relatively arid looking grassland, and it's just beautiful, and it's wild, and you see almost no development around. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, that's wild. And what I loved is when I went down to the Everglades and was seeing you, I am so amazed that there are places even in Florida that I haven't seen. And you know what? I've been to Africa, and I was so surprised when I went to Africa that there was someone there that said, yeah, this is my first time at Kruger National Park. I'm like, are you kidding me? And then I realized, gosh, you know, I've never seen some of these wild animals I've never seen in my own backyard. So that's probably an important thing for people, especially being in Florida now, is to really take advantage of our wild places that are right here.
Speaking of Africa, that reminds me of Big Cypress, because some of the scenes in Big Cypress remind me of southern and East Africa. You know, vast open areas, and I felt like I should be seeing elephants in them. But another great thrill in this trip has been seeing panther tracks. I'm pretty sure, it's not always easy to be sure. There are overlaps and patterns between different animals, but I'm pretty sure I saw panther tracks in a couple places, and that was thrilling. That was in Big Cypress.
That is so cool. I was so thrilled when I saw that photo, because you had mentioned that before you started. You were like, I would love to just even see a track, and I thought, oh, that'd be so cool. All right, so I got a few, like, you know, some fast questions I want to find out about you. All right, so when Margot checks in with you, and you have her, she checks in with you at different parts along the way to give you whatever, supplies, download video. Okay, I want to ask about gear. What piece of gear are you like, gosh, I hope this breaks so I don't have to deal with it anymore and give it to Margot? Is it like a piece of electronic equipment or anything like that?
Thankfully, none of the gear is failing. None of it's falling short in my expectations, really. But I'm carrying more stuff. I have been carrying too much stuff. I've been carrying rope and carabiners, which is just plain silly. There are no cliffs anywhere in sight here in Florida. I'm not having to hang food to get it away from bears. And here I am. It was in the bottom of my pack. I didn't even notice it. So here I am toting around with rope and carabiners, which just shows I haven't packed as carefully as I should. I've probably been carrying at least 5 pounds of gear that I really just did not need, and I'm going to leave that behind as I travel ahead. So I've made a little bit, some small errors in packing, but nothing too terrible. Okay, so the last question I want to ask you, if you were an animal, what animal would you be? Panther, probably. If there's one animal that symbolizes this whole trip for me, it's the panther, which of course belongs throughout the eastern United States, not just in Florida. It's been isolated to a small area of southern Florida, and part of the aim of my trip is to educate people on what we need to do to make room for panthers to roam as they should be able to roam. And roads are their biggest impediment to travel, and we need to work to get wildlife underpasses and overpasses over. So if there's one animal that represents this whole trip for me, it would be the panther. That is cool. I'm so glad you saw at least the panther track. So, John, before you go, let's do a toast, because first of all, you know I like to do toasts, but I want everybody to see that mug, because if they've really been paying attention to you, this is almost like the Flat Stanley. Like wherever you see John Davis, you're holding that mug, and I love it because it's important, right? You need to reuse the same thing. So everybody, as you're following John Davis, you can look for this mug, and maybe next time I interview you, I will ask you what's in that mug. All right, giddy up. Giddy up. All right.